Okay, here we are. Hello to everyone that is watching this. You are with Noor here. I run the operations for EasyGrow, and welcome to another client interview. Today, I'm joined by Dan, who I'm really excited to interview because he's been with us for a very long time and he's managed to see some really great success. And yeah, in this interview, we're just going to go over his story and how he has found the program since joining us. So yeah, Dan, why don't you give an introduction to everyone watching? Obviously, me and you spoke just before this started recording, but if you can give an introduction and let the people know who you are and what your agency is and your background and all that stuff, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I run a marketing agency for accountants. We take over everything from lead generation, landing page creation, creating the whole advertising campaign, and also the appointment setting. And I joined, as Noor said before, like a while ago when there was not even like a school group, just only with the Facebook group. And I didn't know anything about the whole marketing agency stuff, just hopped in. And yeah, right now we work with accountants, they get amazing results, and I'm very happy I joined.
Love it. So where were you so before you joined the program, Dan? And where are you now? Just to paint a picture to people watching this in terms of how the business looks, revenue, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I started out just like literally from ground zero, didn't know anything about sales, about marketing. And right now, the best month was in February, I think it was like 13K.
Let's go.
So yeah, that's definitely great step. Keeping in mind that I didn't know anything when I started.
Yeah, perfect. How have you sort of found the program and your experience, Dan, from when you were sort of a beginner? It'd be great to hear your perspective as someone that didn't know anything about the industry, like you said. I know just before we started recording, you said you didn't even know about a niche or anything like that. What was the experience like just going through the different modules and putting the pieces together to actually make this work?
Yeah. Well, it's actually funny because it's basically when I look at the whole program EasyGrow, it's more like if you do the work, you will get the results eventually. So I just started off watching the mindset acquisition genesis,
Love it.
and then I built the basically the Loom Terminator Loom system, and appointments started coming in. And it's more that the whole experience is just I get a problem, I go in the program, you have already solved it, you Charlie and Bo. I just do exactly what they say I need to do, and it's basically solved. So at some point, sales was a very big struggle for me. Just watch the sales modules, jumped on the sales calls every single week, and
Yeah.
now my sales conversion rate went from like 15 to almost 40%. So my experience is amazing. I definitely think that it's basically just every I how I look at the program. It's just like Charlie and Bell had problems, anybody in the course had problems, and they solve everything basically. There's not a reason for anybody in the course who not skilled to 6, 7 figures. Yeah.
Yeah, love it, man. And from your perspective, in terms of like what you saw the most success from with accountants, you mentioned Terminator Loom was the strategy that was working for you. Was there anything else that was working for you in terms of getting those meetings in and scaling up, or was this the one and only strategy that you just leveraged?
Well, there are like I don't even know how many strategies in EasyGrow there are to get those appointments in the door. But yeah, we use Terminate Loom and also Facebook and LinkedIn. So appointment booking rates with Facebook are amazing. It's like some months is like 10%.
Nice.
So yeah, that's definitely up there. So yeah, we use Facebook, there's organic outreach, LinkedIn, Terminator Looms. I did some cold calling. I still do it sometimes if I have some time left. But yeah, that's the main thing that we use right now.
Yeah, love it. Another thing I want to touch on is obviously you mentioned sales, it wasn't a big thing for you, but then you went through the sales training and more prominently, you were tuning into the sales coaching call every week. And I actually remember, again, because I told you this before, I got eyes everywhere on top of everyone's progress. You mentioned specifically how, Vince and Seb's calls, for example, shout out to them.
Yeah,
They were a massive help for you in terms of
absolutely.
managing objections and stuff like that. So if you can just expand a bit further on, how that helped you, for example, expand and improve your sales skills? Because I think for most people, right, they watch a sales training just as you probably did, and it's still hard to like execute some of the things. But when you're getting live feedback every week, that's probably what took you to the next level, which you actually mentioned. So
Yeah.
it'd be great to hear your experience on that because I think from what you've said, I think that's probably your favorite call of the week. Because I know you got a ton of value from that.
Yeah, it's definitely a shout out to Vint and Seb. Yeah, so basically every time I like had a sales call scheduled, I was happy that it was there, but I was just not happy that I needed to hop on a sales call. I literally hated it. So then I watched the sales training and just the course itself, which was great, and I managed to close deals here and there. But as I said, it was like 15% conversion rate, which is not very easy to scale. So I just joined the coaching calls, which I think actually is like maybe even the biggest value of the whole EasyGrow course. And just hopped on every week. They just listened to my calls, gave me feedback. They even checked in every now and then. Hey, how's it going? Did you do this? Did you do this? And it's not, it's even, of course they give you the tips and that's also great, but it's also you knowing, hey, I'm actually on the right path. Because as we talked before, my progress was not hopping in 3 months scale to 50K. It just took me a year to actually get there. And just knowing that there are just coaches helping you out, and they actually see also with Jimmy with the service delivery, like you are actually making progress. And it's just then you look back and it's okay, shit, now I'm actually converting at like almost 40%. So yeah, it was amazing. Actually, they help you out. And it's also just now I'm literally looking forward to the sales calls. I love the objection handling, and I'm actually having fun with it. So it's like literally a 180. And definitely the coaching calls, and Finn and Sebastian helped the top. Yeah.
Yeah, love it, man. I remember that specifically because I think we were in Dubai at the time and they were hosting a call and I was actually in the room. And I think like you mentioned straight after how like or you mentioned on the call actually how like you'd love an objection handling now. And that made their day. Like they were so they were even after the call, they were so happy to actually hear that. Because it's amazing, right? You go from someone that's yes, you watch the sales videos and you know you're still getting on the call, but you have that bit of fear with you. Now
Mhm.
to a point where apologies by the light, by the way. Now you get to the point where you know you're loving the objections, you're staying on calls harder than before, and you don't feel bad about it. You're just loving the
No.
process, you're doing what you're supposed to do, and the calls play a big part of that. And you also mentioned Jimmy there, shout out to Uncle Jimmy. And again, it's just another way of showing you the fact that you are making progress because I think with most programs, and we've seen this ourselves, with the course alone, yes, you can get things done, but you're almost trapped in your own mind, Dan. And I think you've probably
Mhm.
seen that.
Yeah.
And it feels like you're not getting anywhere. But as soon as you get an outsider's perspective on your sales school coaching, on your, you know, service delivery coaching, it's actually like, hey, Dan, you're doing more than you actually think you are. Like we're on the right track here. So it's really, really good to have. Good stuff. So another thing I want to touch on, Dan, is the point you made about it took like 12 months, I'd say, to get to the point where you know, you made 13K for the month and it's
Mhm.
like or in February, sorry. Um talk to us a bit about like the original struggles you faced because we briefly spoke about this where just before again we started recording, I love how you've taken this long to get to where you are in comparison to some of the faster wins we see because your one is a very realistic journey, right? It's not supposed to be easy all the time. And I
Mhm.
know firsthand how you've sort of struggled and you had to, you know, improve yourself and stuff. So what were the sort of the struggles you faced, you know, with this particular niche and sticking it out and essentially what got you to where you are today? Because most people in your position, when they do pick a niche like accountants where there's not much proof of concept around them, they would easily quit. So for you to stay at it for like over a year and see the success you've gotten is fantastic. But I know you could have easily quit within a few months. So what made you sort of stick with it, and what were the original struggles you faced?
So the reason I think I stick with it is because also with the community, like it's like even worth the whole price, the community alone.
Yeah.
It's just every time I like, for example, every single day I log into to school or back in the days into Facebook groups, and I will see just other guys, people asking, "Hey, should I switch niches? Should I switch niches? I'm not sure if I should stay in here." And every single time, like you, Charlie, or someone else will comment, "No, don't stick," and just continue and continue, continue, continue. And of course, there were moments, and you know of this, that I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to switch a niche, and this is not working out. But just reading the comments with people who have the same struggles, and again, like everybody from EasyGrow, Charlie, Bo, they solved everything already. So you just come into the course, you just have the course, the program, the coaches, but also the community itself. There are also other people going through the same things that I'm going through right now, and just talking with them. And I'm still talking with them who have the same problems in the business that I now have. Just knowing that Charlie and Bo fix it themselves, just following their advice, and then also seeing other people in the community who solve the problems already. So yeah, just having I think kind of like the confidence. Hey, I'm just sure it's not easy for me right now, but if I just keep on doing the thing that Charlie and Bo and the coaches are saying and the community is doing, and I know I will get there. And that's also the thing with EasyGrow, that it's not about you. It's more about you if you are doing the work or not, because the solution is already there.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. And again, that's why I told you this. I was super, super happy to see you've cracked the accountant's code, man. Because I know, like I said, I remember that post where you literally said, "Hey, man, I'm thinking of switching niche here because I've been at this for a couple of months now. There's just, problems and whatnot, blah, blah, blah." And I think you described those problems to me on a post. And I actually said, "Dan, you've been at it for a while. The problems you listed, they seem difficult, but they're not impossible to fix. Like there is a market here. Um, you do have something they need. Like let's fix the problem here." And you managed to just stick with it and just fix it. Whereas a lot of people, they were in these markets and niches where they may have problems, but they just surrender too easily. Like they
Yeah.
just quit niches and they jump niches. And I think what you mentioned, where that's where the support plays a big part, because if there's not a decent level of support or a community, for example, let's just say in your perspective, Dan, if you didn't have that, you probably would have switched from accountants and you would have jumped to another niche. And if you encountered similar problems, the same behavior pattern would reoccur. Face a problem rather than solve it, switch niche. Face a problem rather than solve it, switch niche. So
Yeah.
that's massive how you stayed the course, especially in a unique niche like this, and have now sort of cracked the code compared to before, which is fantastic. So how does your sort of business look right now, Dan, in terms of team wise, now that you're at this scale? Are you still sort of running everything yourself, or are you slowly, starting to build out a team to set yourself up to, go to those 20K per month and beyond?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I have a bunch of PAs who just run the loom, Terminator loom. So that's all automated. I just have to do the replies basically. I'm currently looking for appointment setters. So that's also just another thing in the course. Like the problem, I don't have time to do the outreach, just solved by getting the appointment setters. And yeah, it's also just taking a look at what the best next move is, because right now you are at a level where you can maybe outsource a couple of things here and there. Just taking a look, okay, well, what should I outsource first and what not. So right now, I just have a couple of VAs that help me with the outreach for appointment setters. And I don't think I'm going to outsource sales very soon, since that's a pretty important thing, with also you, I think, also told a lot of people. But yeah, just outsourcing the outreach for now, because all those systems are just already in place, are just working, and then freeing up some time to get more appointments and yeah, skill to those 20K months as you just told me.
Yeah, amazing, man. Yeah, you're in a great position now where Charlie and Bo have also mentioned this, where it's like just getting to that 10K mark. You just want to do everything in your human power to get there. Like that first 10K, that'll be the hardest like checkpoint that you reach from um not just like a sweat equity standpoint in terms of the work you put in, but more from a
Mm-hmm.
mindset standpoint, like to break that barrier and now be in a position where, like you mentioned, Dan, you can slowly start to systemize things. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah, really, really good stuff. On the topic of, having that shift, Dan, um, what what was the, you know, identity shift like for you? How have you had to change as, I suppose, as a person to get to where you are today? Or or are you still the same Dan as you were before, for example, to achieve this? Did you have to make any sort of significant behavioral changes, break certain limiting beliefs, all that stuff? I'd be keen to hear that side of things, because I think that when it comes to identity shifting and mindset, that's something that a lot of people overlook. I'd love to hear, your perspective on that and whether that played a part in getting you to where you are right now?
Yeah, well, 100%. Because um, I think when self-transcendence came out, this is the whole mindset, self-transcendence, the mindset course, basically. And when I actually implemented what Charlie was saying and really alchemy of self, just really taking a hard look at what are the things that you lack right now and what is the person doing that is actually achieving your goals. That made a huge difference for me. Because sure, I was always putting in those hours and I was always working on things, but never on the right things to actually making a difference. So yeah, I think I'm not even like close to the person I was like a year ago, struggling to book appointments, struggling to close deals, and not even knowing how to actually deliver on the service. So yeah, that definitely helped, and I also think it helped with a lot of things even outside of business. This easy grow, this also this of course is building a business and coaching, consulting, but it's way more than that actually.
Fantastic, man. Yeah, that's so true because I think another thing when you just get into the program and in business in general, to be honest, like again, you've seen this firsthand, Dan. It's a humbler. It's not easy. You know, you're gonna have to challenge yourself. It's scary picking up the phone and doing cold calls. It's scary doing the sales calls. You don't enjoy it like you did at once. And then you get to a point where you love the sales calls, you love picking up the phone. You can speak with so much confidence, and that doesn't necessarily just happen in business, right? It translates to other areas of your life where your friends could probably see a difference in you, your family could see a difference in you. They're like, oh, what happened? And you just simply say, I've gotten beaten up by business and I'm actually doing well now. So yeah, I'm a better person for that. So yeah, love it, man. That's amazing. What would you say, Dan? Obviously, we've crossed that, 10K per month mark. What would you say your next big objectives are? Like, what's your plan for the next 1 year, 5 year, even 10 years, to be honest? Like, where do you want to take this, like revenue wise, business wise, and where do you want it to go?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I don't have like a 10-year plan,
Yeah.
because at some point it was just I always want to go to 10K per month and I don't care about anything else. So right now it's just like the main goal is maybe probably going to 50K.
Love it.
I in the future, of course, like you again dropped another course in EasyGrow involving info products. So I was definitely thinking about like if I have like such a system in place that is getting consistent results for like let's say 50 clients at a time, and I know for a fact it's going to be working for every single one, probably switching to the info business model, and then yeah, go from there probably to 100K per month, and yeah, see where we end up then. But right now, like the main goal is probably going to be 50K per month, just getting systems in place, figuring out the hiring stuff, and then yeah, see what the next goals are.
Yeah, 100% love it, man. And on your end, because as a business owner, I'm aware that you've been in the arena for so long, just like all other business owners are, where you're just mapped in, you're locked in on one target, you're constantly fighting, you're moving forward, this, that. It's sometimes hard to just pause and look at how far you've come. So one thing I always like to ask people is, Dan, on your end, have you taken the time to sit down, breathe, and look at how much you've achieved, how life sort of changed, and just look at how things are going because you went from zero to someone that's making 13K per month to that's now talking about making 50K per month. So yeah, my question is to you, like, have you been able to reflect on this, on how life has sort of changed for you and just how far you've come?
Yeah, well, it's actually funny because with indie self and senders thing, I just found that my very big weak point of myself was not reflecting. I was working a lot, but not on the right things. So every single Sunday, I take time and just like go through the numbers, outreach, but also finances, and every single month I just look back at the things that I yeah made changes to, the progress I made. So definitely look back, but I like to look forward more. So it's more that I'm just yeah, just keep on doing the work. But yeah, it's definitely a huge difference in terms of like, as I told you before, like when I really started to take it serious, I just finished college, so I just needed to get a 9 to 5, which I did not want to have,
Yeah.
or make this work. And yeah, with Easy Grow, it was just as I said before, just if you do the work, you will get the results. And yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that's it. 100%. And you know what? I love how you just take action on things, even on the mindset thing that you just mentioned. You go through the module, you realize one of your weaknesses isn't reflecting. What do? Every Sunday? You remind yourself of how far you've come. And yeah, that's super important. And yeah, like you mentioned towards the end there, you had the prospect of a 9 to 5 route there, and now you've got the business, and you can be in charge of your own time and be able to operate the way you want to operate, which is fantastic. So Dan, people watching this interview, right? It will obviously consist of new people that probably are looking to purchase a program. But before we get into them, I know for a fact it will also consist of people that are existing students of the program. And it would be valuable to ask you, Dan, what would you say to some, what are some tips you'd give to existing students, for example, that have just started with us, looking to make things work, all that good stuff. As someone who's been here for a decent amount of time, it's taken 12 months to see success. What would you say would be some key tips that you would give them to achieve the success that they want to achieve?
I think for me, the biggest game change has been the coaching calls. Because can have the course and you can have the community, but the coaching calls, they just give you like very specific tips, and just being consistent. So yeah, like for me, it was not like a 50K month in 3 months. It was just like being consistent, showing discipline. I think just consistently joining the coaching calls and having the balls to say, okay, I suck at outreach right now. I suck at sales right now. Just look at what are the things that I'm not good at right now. There's literally, as I told you before, a solution for every single thing in EasyGrow. Just joining those consistently joining those coaching calls, and you guys will just help everybody out that's joining the coaching calls, that is doing the work. So that's like my number one tip: consistently just looking at yourself. What is the business stuck at? Which basically is a reflection of yourself. During the coaching call, solving those problems, and yeah, then you look back in a couple of months and you say, "Hey, I had my first 13 came up."
100%. And yeah, it's funny you say that, like, because all the interviews we have, it mainly consists of people that are just actively joining the coaching calls. Like, I done an interview with Alex Pham recently. Um, he's still joining coaching calls at 50K per month. Like, I hosted one yesterday and he joined. He's like, oh, hey, no, I got a question about this and this. I was like, fantastic. No wonder you are at the success you're at, because you're still joining these, and it's the same thing that happened to you. So that's fantastic. And to the active students that are watching this, please do what Dan said, because this is someone that's been at it for 12 months. He knows the graft, he knows the work, and I know for a fact personally, because I've seen it firsthand, the coaching calls made a massive difference for him, and they'll make a massive difference for you. And again, Dan, like you said, don't be afraid of using the community and saying, "Hey, I'm rubbish like at sales, I'm rubbish at outreach." Amazing. Like we'll help you. Like you don't have to pretend you're great. You can be vulnerable, and you can just let us know that what you're struggling with, and we can help, whether it's in the group calls or whatever it is. So yeah, that's fantastic. And then to just sort of round off the interview, Dan, like I mentioned just before we go into this, there'll naturally be people that are watching this where they're yet to be a client. They probably just want to find out more about, the program. They're on the fence maybe. What would you say to the people that are on the fence about buying this program, if you had to speak to them now that you've actually gone through it, as a client yourself, as someone who started from ground zero, didn't know anything about it, to now being in the position you are in right now? What would you say to those students that were in a similar position to you and perhaps were on the fence?
Just do it. It's that easy. So it's just, as I told you before, it's just every single problem that you have inside of your business is already solved. So it's just more the question: are you really willing to put in the work? Which, if they are watching this video, if they're struggling and they have like goals, they probably are willing to put in the work. You will for 100% for a fact get there. And yeah, what I will say to those people is just do it, because your problems will be solved if you just do the work, just like me. And
Yeah,
there's not a single doubt in my mind that they will not reach their goal if they just follow the modules, join the coaching calls, and just do exactly what you guys tell them to do.
yeah, fantastic, man. Yeah, and let me re-emphasize that for those that are watching. When Dan said, do the work, this isn't Dan who's come into the program, seen success in 2 months, and he's just saying, yeah, do the work. This is coming from someone that, again, it's taken him 12, 13 months to be here, and Dan is someone that's done the work in moments of struggle. So he's had to become great at sales, appointment setting, and all this stuff. He's had to stay in the hard niche. So I think it's perfect coming from you, Dan, because we spoke about this briefly before. You've gone through like that journey of, you see on the internet nowadays, 10K 90 days and all this stuff. And whilst that is possible to some extent, Your one's a more realistic journey, and you know, just the topic of hard work, it's a perfect example. So to anyone that's watching this, if you are willing to work hard, like Dan said, please do book a call with us. The program will massively benefit you. If, however, you aren't willing to work hard, and Dan, you will agree with me here, I don't think any program can help you, because if you're not willing to put in the work yourself, you will surrender at the any mini problem that you have. And again, I've said this many times so far, but Dan, you yourself have faced problems with your niche and sales and stuff, but you kept working, and ultimately the problems were fixed and you're in the position you are in today. So yeah, to summarize, if you guys are watching on the fence, but you're willing to work, please book a call with us because we can help. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the client interview, guys. Dan, really appreciate you taking the time to jump on with me here. And yeah, to those of you that are watching this one, I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to keep an eye out for any new ones that drop, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye.